Our second to last 2022 positional review brings us to safeties. We'll talk about them right after this. 2022 season for the Minnesota Vikings safeties was just like the rest of the team. A lot of ups, quite a few downs. Overall, pretty solid. We kind of got to see Harrison Smith be more of just himself, which was kind of nice. Cam Bynum had some big plays, big moments, but also didn't take the steps that we all wanted him to. And then Josh Metellus, obviously, when he got in there, I was able to show some flashes. Then, of course, Lewis Cine, unfortunately, with the injury, didn't get to see really anything from him. Hopefully next season, it looks like he's on the mend, which is nice. So hopefully next season is big for him. But anyway, we still got to look at these guys, give our thoughts, give our grades, maybe talk about who's going to be here, who's going to be starting next year. But before we get into that, just want to show you guys that 78% of you that watch aren't subscribed. What are you doing? It's free. Hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, get notifications when we post our videos. Come hang out. We do live streams. We give away stuff.
Giveaways, free stuff. Subscribe. Yeah. Easy.
Fun. As Rap would say, it's robbery if you're not subscribed. So
yeah, we're giving away free stuff. You got all we ask is a subscription.
Yeah. Weekly content, good stuff. But anyway, let's get into the meat potatoes of the video here and look at the safeties from last season. Obviously, Harrison Smith in 14 games, 83 tackles, 5 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 79.5 completion percentage when thrown out on 44 targets. He did allow 2 touchdowns, 69, nice, 0.1 PFF grade overall, 64.8 against the run, and 69, nice, 0.5 in coverage. Obviously, safeties, the position's a little bit different. Like, you're not really square up in coverage a lot. But it's just overall another solid season from Harrison Smith. Obviously, the defense as a whole, just with the way that they all played, it's going to make it look a lot worse, unfortunately. But overall, Harrison Smith is still Harrison Smith. I don't know what more you can say. I mean, obviously, yes, can you see the age coming through a little bit? Sure. But again, and none of these guys were helped by the defensive scheme and play calling.
Right.
But overall, Harrison Smith, man, is another solid season.
I think Harrison Smith might have been, you can maybe say Danielle Hunter. Maybe, I don't know. I think this scheme was like the worst for him, because I know you said earlier that he was able to kind of be more of himself. I felt a little bit the opposite, mostly in the pass rush situation. I think he had like a handful of pass rush. In years past, we've seen much more than that. Last year, he had 5 sacks. He had 0 sacks this year. I don't even know if he had 5 pass rushes this entire year. So a guy like him, he's a Swiss Army knife, and he should definitely be up at the line of scrimmage more, at least a decent amount every single game, and trying to get to the quarterback in those blitz formations. We just didn't see that much from this year. And I do think that's another reason why I think some of his stuff is definitely down. Obviously, like you said, when it comes to safety, their completions percentages are usually much higher than like a cornerback, because you're not just right on a player. You're kind of, you have to wait for someone to get beat or something like that before it becomes like a thing, whatever you get what I'm saying. 5 interceptions is still fantastic. You can still see, even though he was kind of more back than in years past, you still see those interceptions, and which is fantastic. And his coverage grade is 69.5 is still really solid. His tackles coming down immensely, which also just shows me he wasn't put in the position where Harrison Smith is different than other safeties. I think that's what's is different with Harrison Smith to me is his tackling ability and his ability to get to the quarterback in those blitz situations, which we just didn't get to see a lot of from him this year. That being said, a lot of people are talking about, like, is Harrison Smith, we've been talking about the vets pretty much this entire offseason of who's going to be around next year, who's not. Harrison Smith was pretty a 50-50 at one point, but I think it's getting more and more obvious that a lot of people want Harrison Smith to be around, because he's getting a guy in Brian Flores who might be able to get even the best out of Harrison Smith that we've even seen, just based off how he likes to run his defenses. And a lot of people want to say it's like a match made in heaven, Harrison Smith and Flores. So I do hope we keep him around next year. He's that leader. I think out of anybody, any vets on our defense, he's the guy from a leadership standpoint that I would like to be there. So I'm hoping that we keep him around, and I'm hoping Flores puts him in those positions to get to the quarterback.
Yeah. Overall
Yeah.
for grades on Harrison Smith this season, what are you thinking?
I'm gonna give him. I'll give him a B.
I was gonna go like B plus, just because, like I said, I feel like he wasn't as much of a babysitter this season on that defense. So I don't know. 5 interceptions is nice to see as well. So I think I'm gonna give him like a B plus on for the season.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I liked him.
Moving.
I liked him a lot. I still think he played pretty well. It just seemed like a notch. It was a notch down from years past, and I 100% think it's a scheme reason more than anything out of
For
him.
sure.
I just don't
Which, I
think he
mean,
was
you could say that
used in
about
this.
the defense as a whole too,
Yeah,
honestly.
and we don't. Yeah,
The
we don't even
first
know.
four.
Like there could be a lot of players that were just down compared to years past, just because of that. Our defensive scheme just didn't work with the players we have. I felt like.
Mhm,
Hopefully Flores comes in and he can change that, especially if we keep around some of these vets,
for
because that's
sure.
what we'd have to see that kind
Mhm.
of a bounce back from all those players. So
Next guy on the list is the other starting safety, Cam Bynum. In 17 games, 72 tackles, 2 interceptions. Could have been 3 if referee didn't get in his way. 65.6 completion percentage allowed on 32 targets. Allowed 5 touchdowns, 58.2 PFF overall. 74.4 against the run, 50.2 in coverage. Now, obviously, his rookie season had some ups and downs. This season, also, as you can see by the grades, not perfect by any means. I think a lot of people were expecting eventually that Harrison Smith and Lewis Cine were kind of going to be the guys by the end of the season. Um, yeah, I don't know. The 2 interceptions, like obviously, he had the huge interception against the Jets to seal that game. I mean, we've seen it. He's capable of making big plays. He's solid, but he just gets lost at times. And it's just he didn't take the steps that a lot of people were hoping to see from year 1 to year 2. Again, solid player, but not there's no star power there either. I don't think. I don't know.
yeah,
It's
not
weird.
so
It's
far.
weird with because you feel like he plays a lot better than what his PFF grades show, which is weird.
I didn't. I felt like I saw him getting beat a lot for some
Right.
reason, and he has tough. Obviously, he allowed 5 touchdowns this year, which is quite a bit. But we both kind of liked him a lot coming in the season. Last year, his PFF grades, he had like an 80 something PFF grade. Obviously, small sample size, but he was someone because of that. I was like, I couldn't wait for him to be in that safety spot. That's what we wanted. We were like, get him in that safety spot and Harrison Smith, and then with Lewis Cine, it was like, oh man, what are we gonna do?
Work
Like,
him
it's
in
a good
there. Yeah.
it's like we're lucky because we got this situation where we got like we don't it's a good situation to be in. We got Harrison Smith, Lewis Cine, first round pick, and Cameron Bynum. But I just don't think Bynum lived up to that. And he is really young. Like obviously I don't know if he's gonna be a star or anything like that, but I think it's too early to just be like, oh, he's not that guy. He could obviously bounce back next season. This is his first year as starting safety.
Yeah,
So
and
I
his second year as a safety.
second year as a safety ever. Yeah, he was a
Mhm.
cornerback prior to the NFL. So I mean, obviously, you're gonna have some growing pains. He's young, and again, scheme. Who knows? Who knows? A different change of scheme could change a lot of things. But still, 72 tackles in that run defense, great. 74.4. He's still fantastic in the run game. But man, it's that touchdown, allowing 5 touchdowns, coverage rate of 50.2. I did feel like he got beat quite a bit in coverage. If I was going to grade him, which I am obviously, I'd have to give him a C. I'd have to
Yeah.
give him a C.
I was kind of swimming in the C plus range, I think. Just like he had a couple big plays, like the
Mhm.
huge play against the Jets, which was nice, but
Right, right, right,
but
right.
overall just didn't see starting safety. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
You
I'm not
did, but you
convinced
didn't.
he's our
It's weird.
starting safety, like,
Right.
or anything like that. I'm not convinced he's not either. I think
Mhm.
he didn't play terrible, but he didn't live up to what I was hoping to see out of him this year. And I like Cameron Bynum a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that picture right there with the cape on. I don't know when he was drafted, he had his whole video where he does like the puts a cape on, does a
Mhm.
backflip. He's a cool player and everything. So I really do like him. I would like to see him to succeed, but I'm not convinced he's starting safety material. And there's a possibility that he isn't the starting safety next year,
Mhm.
especially with Lewis Cine looking fantastic in his recovery.
For sure.
So
So we'll see what happens there. Moving on to our last safety on the list is Josh Metellus. Obviously, Played 17 games, yes, but he did not have a consistent role. But 28 tackles, 1 interception, that one against the Lions to steal that game early on in the season. 64.7 completion percentage when thrown at on 17 targets, 1 touchdown allowed, 85.1 overall PFF grade, 72.5 against the run, 80.7 in coverage. Obviously, when Brian O'Neill went down, ended up being the de facto extra captain at the end of the season. So obviously a great locker room guy. Everybody loves him.
Right.
Amazing special teamer. And when he gets in there at safety, he's not bad. I mean, he's not. I don't think he'll ever turn into that starting caliber safety because obviously, I mean, he hasn't had a lot of opportunity. But when he did step in for Harrison Smith against the Lions later on in the season,
Right.
he bit on the route and allowed the long touchdown to DJ Chark. And there's just some certain, like, I don't know. And again, maybe it's just not enough reps. Maybe he could potentially develop into that guy. But having a safety on the bench who's relatively cheap, a good locker room guy, and great on special teams is 100% fine. And I think that's a role that Josh Metellus will find himself in for his career, which definitely not a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, in his small sample size, especially, man, there was I think it was, the Detroit game that you were talking about. He had a fantastic game there. And it kind of does remind me, I mean, it's very small sample size, but it did kind of remind me a little bit of what we saw from Bynum last season. And then obviously Bynum steps up as a complete starter, and we didn't really see as much from him as a starter. But like you said with Josh Metellus, I don't know if I see him as like a long-term starter or anything like that. Maybe though. I mean, he did show a lot. He still is really young. 85.1 PFF grade, 80.7 in coverage. Other than that one DJ Chark touchdown that you mentioned, I felt like he did a fantastic job. And I do I'm glad we have him, and I'm hoping that we keep him around. I don't know if he's probably still on his rookie contract or whatever, so he probably will be around next year. But yeah, I mean, good player. Hopefully we do see progress from him, and you never know. I mean, we did see some good stuff, but as far as grades go with Josh Metellus, I'm going to go with a B plus. You see his small sample size, but I think he did a lot in those, especially when he came in for Harrison Smith in that Detroit game.
Yeah. I'm swimming like the B minus to B range, I think, like 82.5%. Like you're getting close to where you'd probably get into that B range there, but overall, solid season. If you were grading the safeties overall, what would you think of that?
Safeties overall,
I was thinking like a B minus.
yeah, B minus,
which is fair.
B minus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you said, Harrison Smith, well, I felt like he didn't have to be that babysitter and was kind of being himself a little more. Yes, I think he wasn't utilized properly. Like you said, I mean, we've seen when he blitzes and in the pass
He's
rush,
the best safety in the
amazing.
league at that, I think.
Exactly. Then combine with inconsistencies and Josh Metellus not, being a full-time starter, kind of being an is what it is situation. But then obviously Lewis Cine, you can't really inconclusive there because we just don't know. I think B minus B is a fair grade.
Yeah, secondary in general, I'd probably say C plus.
Yeah. And again, it's more a scheme than anything, I think.
Yeah, it could be scheme. That's what we hope for anyways. That's what we're going to say until next year. and then we have to say it again. Oh,
yep, for sure.
But hopefully not. Hopefully not. The scheme's going to work. Flores is going to be that guy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But those are our thoughts on the safeties. We want to know your guys' thoughts and grades. Let us know those. Drop them down in the comments section, and we'll see you guys next time on the GG Sports Podcast.
Skol Vikings.